Every project hits obstacles. The question is not whether your team will face blockers. It's whether you as the project manager will be ready to remove them. In this video, I'll break down Task 7 from Domain 1. Address and remove impediments, obstacles, and blockers. We'll cover the 4 enablers, what the exam really tests, how Agile handles impediments differently, and I'll finish with a practice question. Let's get into it. Task 7 sits in Domain 1. People, which makes up 42% of the PMP exam. The task statement is, address and remove impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. There are 4 enablers. First, determine critical impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. Second, prioritize critical impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. Third, use network and influence to implement solutions to remove impediments. Fourth, reassess continually to ensure impediments are being addressed. Each enabler is a step in a continuous process. Let's go through them. Before we go into the enablers, let's clarify the terminology. The exam uses 3 terms interchangeably: impediments, obstacles, and blockers. An impediment is anything that slows the team's progress. An obstacle is something that stands in the way of completing work. A blocker is something that completely stops progress on a task or deliverable. On the exam, do not overthink these distinctions. All 3 terms describe things that the project manager must identify, prioritize, and remove. That is the core of Task 7. The first enabler is determine critical impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. You cannot remove what you cannot see. The project manager must actively surface impediments, not wait for the team to escalate them. On the PMP exam, this is tested in scenarios where a team member is stuck but has not raised the issue. The project manager is expected to notice, ask, and investigate, not assume everything is fine because no one has complained. Proactive identification is the PMP-aligned behavior. Impediments are identified through different mechanisms depending on the approach. In Agile, daily stand-ups include a specific question: what is blocking you today? In Predictive, status meetings, progress reports, and one-on-ones surface blockers. In both approaches, the project manager must create a safe environment where team members feel comfortable raising issues without fear. A team that hides blockers is a team that does not trust its project manager. Trust is what makes impediment removal possible. The second enabler is prioritize critical impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. Not all impediments are equal. Some slow one person by an hour, others block the entire team for a week. On the PMP exam, prioritization is tested in scenarios where multiple blockers exist simultaneously. The correct approach is to address the impediment with the highest impact on the project first, the one that threatens the schedule, budget, or quality the most. A project manager who tries to solve everything at once solves nothing effectively. Triage first, then act. This principle is tested throughout Domain 1, but Task 7 is where it is most directly expressed. A servant leader does not do the team's work for them. A servant leader removes what is in the way so the team can do its best work. On the exam, whenever you see a scenario where the team is blocked, the correct answer will almost always involve the project manager taking action to unblock them, not waiting, not delegating the problem back to the team, and not ignoring it. The third enabler is use network and influence to implement solutions to remove impediments. Some blockers are within the project manager's direct control. They can be solved immediately. Others require going outside the team, using relationships, authority, or escalation. On the PMP exam, this is tested in scenarios where the blocker involves another department, a vendor, a resource constraint, or an organizational policy. The correct response involves leveraging your network, talking to the right people, using your influence, and finding creative solutions. Escalation to the sponsor is appropriate when the blocker is beyond the PM's authority to resolve. but the exam expects you to try direct resolution first before escalating. The fourth enabler is reassess continually to ensure impediments are being addressed. Removing a blocker once is not enough. The project manager must follow up, verify the solution worked, check whether new blockers have emerged, and keep the impediment removal process active. On the exam, this appears in scenarios where a blocker was supposedly resolved, but the team is still stuck. The correct response is to investigate, not assume the problem is solved just because an action was taken. Closing the loop is a recurring PMP principle. In Agile environments, impediment removal is formalized, and this is heavily tested. The daily stand-up includes a dedicated question. What is blocking you today? The Scrum Master, or servant leader, is specifically responsible for removing impediments that the team cannot resolve themselves. The impediment backlog, sometimes called the blocker board, is a visible list of current blockers and their status. Transparency is key in Agile. Blockers are visible to everyone, not hidden. On the exam, if a question mentions a daily stand-up or sprint retrospective in the context of blockers, you are in Agile territory. The servant leader removes the blocker. The team does not work around it indefinitely. 3 traps that catch candidates on impediment removal questions. Trap 1. Escalating immediately without trying direct resolution first. The exam expects the project manager to attempt to resolve blockers directly before going to the sponsor or senior management. Trap 2. Removing the symptom without addressing the root cause. If the same blocker keeps appearing, the underlying cause has not been fixed. The exam rewards root cause analysis over quick fixes. Trap 3. Waiting for the team to raise blockers. The project manager must proactively identify impediments, not passively wait for the team to escalate. Let's recap Task 7. Address and remove impediments, obstacles, and blockers. Enabler 1. Determine. Proactively identify what is blocking the team. Do not wait. Enabler 2. Prioritize. Tackle the highest impact blocker first. Enabler 3. Network and influence. Use your relationships and authority to unblock. Enabler 4. Reassess. Close the loop and verify the blocker is truly resolved. And remember, removing blockers is the servant leader's primary job. The team does the work. The PM clears the path. Let's test your understanding with an exam-style question. Question. A project manager is leading an Agile team. During the daily stand-up, a team member mentions that they have been waiting 3 days for access to a system controlled by another department. The delay is starting to affect the sprint goal. What should the project manager do? Option A. Tell the team member to follow up directly with the other department. Option B. Wait until the sprint retrospective to discuss the issue with the team. Option C. Contact the other department directly to resolve the access issue and escalate to the sponsor if it cannot be resolved quickly. Option D. Remove the blocked task from the sprint and add it to the next sprint. The correct answer is C. This is a classic servant leader scenario. The team member has been blocked for 3 days. The sprint goal is at risk. The project manager's job is to act immediately, contact the other department directly, and escalate if needed. This is exactly what Enabler 3 describes. Use your network and influence to remove the blocker. Why not A? Telling the team member to handle it themselves defeats the purpose of having a PM. The PM removes blockers, not the team. Why not B? Waiting until the retrospective is far too slow. The sprint goal is already at risk. Why not D? Moving the task to the next sprint avoids the problem instead of solving it. C is correct because it is proactive, direct, and uses the PM's authority and network. That's your complete guide to PMP Task 7, Address and Remove Impediments. Subscribe for more PMP exam prep. Next up, how to negotiate project agreements. Task 8 explained. See you in the next video.